all the food and dietary supplements that we mentioned on this program are intended to contribute to the daily diet and overall health. They're not intended for the use in the prevention, treatment, mitigation, or cure of a disease or health-related condition. Individuals who have or suspect that they have an illness or who wish to commence a diet or exercise program should be consulting with an appropriately licensed healthcare practitioner for their medical history evaluation, diagnosis, treatment, and health recommendations. Welcome to the Health and Wellness Hour with Dr. Joel Wallach and Pharmacist Keith Abell. They believe when it comes to nutrition and supplementation, the modern medical system has failed you, that our body is divinely designed to repair itself given the correct foundation of nutrients. With a combined 85 years experience in health, nutrition, and supplementation, they bring a unique perspective on how to manage disease and improve one's health. Over the next hour, Dr. Wallach and Pharmacist Keith will discuss health and wellness topics seen in the news. They'll discuss trends in nutrition and supplementation and how you can take control of your own health and your future. Let's get on with the show. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Campaign for Nutrition, Health, and Wellness Hour with Dr. Joel Wallach and myself, Pharmacist Keith Abell. We've got a lot of information we want to cover today. Dr. Wallach, how are you today?
Very fine. Thank you so much, Pharmacist Keith, for the great introduction as usual. And thank you so much for all that you do. You're a very unique pharmacist, that's for sure. We'll get to that in a minute. And basically, I'm going to kind of go back to the beginning. Grew up on a little farm in Missouri and was going to go into agriculture school, which I did at the University of Missouri, and got my degree in agriculture. And my major was in animal husbandry and nutrition, very, very profound. And my minor was in field crops and soils. And then, I learned about, all the nutrients necessary we had to give to the animals and so forth. And got into veterinary school and at the University of Missouri. And I didn't have a lot of money, so I had to work to my way through school. And I worked in the pathology department at the University of Missouri. And one of those things where it was Christmas time, 1963, 2 years before I graduated. Well, actually 1 year before I graduated, 1.5 years before I graduated veterinary school. All the professors were gone. I'm there by myself. I'm like 23 years old. And this farmer comes and he dumps 50 dead sheep on me. And he said, hey, last night I have 500 sheep and they were beautiful. They all came up to the troughs to eat and I fed them. They're all making their happy noises and everything. I woke up this morning to feed them again. They're all dead. That 500 died in one night. And so he brought me 50, opened them up, and their blood was as bright red as cherries. Okay, it's just like crazy how red their blood was. So I knew there had to be something going on there. And I asked him about his neighbors. Did they fertilize? He said, well, yeah, my neighbor, he grows hay and he makes money by tonnage. So he fertilizes like crazy with nitrate fertilizers. And apparently the surface water had taken a lot of that nitrates and put it into the pond that all these lambs were getting their water from. And they've been doing that for, months. So why did they all die in one night? Well, I checked the weather department, and sure enough, in central Missouri, around Columbia, Missouri, where the university is, where the sheep ranch was, this farmer didn't have any problems. Because usually it's a situation like that where you got a pollution thing, one animal will die, and then 2 weeks later, another one will die, and 2 weeks later, two will die. So why did 500 die in one night? So I checked the weather service, and sure enough, in central Missouri in December, it could be 45, 50, 60 degrees. But that night, the temperature dropped down to 17, and they all died from hypothermia. And so it was like crazy. I wrote it up. That was my first scientific publication, was that paper. And it was published in 1965 when I went to Africa for Marlin Perkins' Mutual Omaha Wild Kingdom show, work on the White Rhino Conservation Project. That was my first postdoctoral fellowship after my veterinary degree. And I'm there for 2 years. I'm going to stay in Africa forever. Okay, worked with great systems and people, lived out in the bush for 2 years, delivered my second baby out there by myself out in the bush of South Africa. And then one of the thing happened was Marlin Perkins took my paper that had been published in that mass die-off from hypothermia and secondary to pollution, and he got a $25 million grant from NIH to study diseases in zoo animals. We were looking for a zoo animal that would die of pollution from the same pollution that would kill people. And so it's one of those things where, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. You just set up the thing, and he got the grant. And so he called me back from Africa to be the pathologist on the project because he had used my paper on that mass die-off in the sheep to get that $25 million grant. So he gave me the first choice if I was going to be the pathologist on the project. Of course, I took it, came back. And to make a long story short, 10 years goes by and I did 20,000 autopsies looking for a zoo animal that would die from the same pollutants that human beings would die from. So if these animals started dying in the zoos, they knew to box up and get out of there, just save themselves. And so that's kind of what the whole project was about. And so that was kind of an exciting set of years, to be sure. Got to travel all over the world, looking at zoos all over the world for the same purpose, to see what animals died from what pollutants and what diseases and so forth. And so that was very exciting. And the book that came out of it, The Diseases of Exotic Animals, was published by W.E. Saunders, which is the biggest was, and now they sold out some years ago, but they were the biggest at the time, medical textbook publishing house in the world. And they picked my book, The Disease of Exotic Animals, and they published 90,000 copies, and they sold them for $25,000 each. Now, not many people are going to buy a $25,000 book for a home remedy. And so we came up with a book that was actually a summary. Okay, it was a summary of that book, Disease of Exotic Animals. Okay, it's called Epigenetics, The Death of the Genetic Theory of Disease Transmission. And that was freaking doctors out. This book is 300 pages, a summary of that 1,200-page book. Well, this book is only like $25. We sell a lot of these. They're only $25. And I urge you to, every family should have at least one of these. And you should read paragraphs or chapters every week or every month and do it again and again and again so everybody knows what's going on. And this is what the Pharmacist Keith is talking about, that we have done things that not many other people have been able to do. Now, again, excuse me, the book, The Disease of Exotic Animals, came out in 1983. Okay, it was published by W.E. Saunders. And then the next big thing, I've got 21 books and 100 CDs and 50 DVDs. I later on, okay, in 1977, found the first non-human case of cystic fibrosis, a birth defect thought to be genetic. And I did autopsies on the other, not autopsies, I did biopsies of the other 24 baby monkeys in that facility. Okay, this was the facility was raising monkeys in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, and to be in space. Okay, and I was a pathologist on the project, and I found the first non-human case of cystic fibrosis, got it approved, and everybody agreed with me. But I came back after having medical schools agree with me that it was cystic fibrosis, but I didn't tell them it was from a monkey. I just sent them slides of the tissues and said, I think this is cystic fibrosis. What do you think? And they all sat back on their letterhead. Yeah, this is classic cystic fibrosis. And then I told them it was from a monkey. And that their letters allowed me to go back and do biopsies of the other 24 baby monkeys, and they all had cystic fibrosis. So I knew that it was not a genetic disease because none of these monkeys are related. But the behaviorist, a guy by the name of, let's see here, Bourne, okay, Jeffrey Bourne, he and his wife Nellie, both PhD behaviorists, took the monkeys off of monkey pellets because they were bored and they're picking hair off of each other. And he gave them carrots and tomatoes and fruit and stuff like that. They all got these deficiencies, and that's why they got cystic fibrosis. Okay, and I got it all written up, and they fired me. It freaked them all out. So they fired me from that facility, and I was going to the various trade shows and everything, looking for something to do, and ran into a booth and some lectures from naturopathic medicine, and went to NCNM, National College of Naturopathic Medicine up in Portland, Oregon, and taught pathology and nutrition. And they gave me credit for a lot of the courses I took in agricultural school and veterinary school and so forth. And so it only took me 2 years to get my degree, okay. Then the next thing that happened was, in chronological order, Dr. Milan and I went to Heilongjiang province in China, at Keyshawn University. Again, she had the clout to go there. And this is one where, again, the common denominators of the etiology and pathology of visceral lesions of cystic fibrosis and and Keyshawn disease, which is essentially the same disease as sudden event death syndrome. Okay, Keyshawn disease is hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease, and it was published in Biological Trace Element Research, Humana Press Inc. Okay, in 1990, and that went around the world. As like I didn't have enough time on my calendar. I'm giving so many. We didn't have Zooms back then, so I was having to travel and give lectures all over the place. It was like crazy. And so that was kind of exciting. And it's one of those things where it just got better and better and better and better. And then we started treating people with muscular dystrophy and cystic fibrosis. And cystic fibrosis would go away very quickly. Muscular dystrophy would go away very quickly. And we gave the information to Jerry Lewis in the telethon. Okay. And he got excited and he talked to half a dozen of the doctors who had done biopsies on these kids that were diagnosed at birth or a couple of months of age with muscular dystrophy. And when they were 6, 8, 10, 12 years old, they didn't have it anymore because we had treated them and they got rid of it. It was just a simple nutritional deficiencies, not a genetic disease as they thought. And so that went crazy. Okay. And again, it was published in the Biology Trace Element Research in Humana Press in 1990. That was kind of exciting. And then let's see here. They fired Jerry Lewis, the Muscular Dystrophy Association, okay, and they fired Jerry Lewis and shut down the telethon. He had raised $2.7 billion for them over a 50-year period. He worked with them for 50 years, gave him all that time, and he gave them all the money. He didn't take any of the money, okay, he's paid for his own expenses and everything, and they fired Jerry Lewis, okay, and shut down the telethon because they believed it was genetic and didn't want to have anything to do with him or me. And so that didn't work out too well for Jerry Lewis, okay? But we kept going. And so to make a long story short, we began to, when I graduated veterinary school, okay, that got me excited. But when I graduated naturopathic school in 1982 and began my practice in Portland, Oregon, again, we didn't have telethons and that kind of stuff. We didn't have Zooms. And so, I'd get 10, 12 people a day to come in. It wasn't a whole lot. Didn't have radio back at that days and so on. And so I began to lecture up and down the West Coast. And then I got up to about 15, 20 people a day in my practice. But it really didn't really get all that big until we really started getting all over the place and going to trade shows and lecturing all over the world. Okay. And then came 2011. I actually got from Dr. Gerhard Schrauser, okay, the Klaus Schwartz Award. Dr. Gerhard Schrauser was a professor at the university, and he showed that selenium was an essential mineral, okay? He proved that medical doctors thought selenium was a poison. Don't take selenium, it's poison. And that's why they didn't like me, because I was saying all these diseases they're saying are genetic were really just a selenium deficiency. Wallach is out of his mind. This is a poison. You can't give babies selenium in their formulas. And so Gerhard Schrauser in 2011 and his team gave me the 2011 Klaus Schwartz Award and medalist of biological trace element research. That was exciting and very, very honorable. And then in 2015, okay, here comes a Lifetime Achievement Award on natural medicine from, the United Nations. And so the United Nations gave me this international award, and they don't give it every year. It's kind of like when they find somebody worthy of it, it might be once every 5 years or once every 3 years, something like that. And so I got that award in 2015. It was August of 2015. I'm very excited, very proud of that. And so these are the sort of things that happen along the trail, so to speak. And so I really, really can't thank people like Pharmacist Keith enough for allowing us to be with him. He's on, I think, 5 days a week. And so he allows us to be on with him every Monday morning for almost 3 years, I think. And so it's very, very rewarding from the standpoint of more and more people we get to talk with. So that's exciting. Now, see here. I'm going to let Pharmacist Keith tell the rest of the story because I don't know whose toes I'm going to step on if I tell too much. So I'm going to let him tell the rest of the story in a minute. But also, I want to say that, we have a great audience around the world. We're in 80 countries, and it's just so exciting. We have 60 warehouses around the world, and we're a multi-million-dollar company. Okay, very proud of that. Now, right now, the oldest living person on Earth is a woman from South Africa, Johanna Mazibuko. That came out just a couple of days ago. And in 2000, let's see here, she was born in 1894. In 1894, she was born May 11th. So May 11th, let's see here, she just, 2022, she just turned 128 years of age. Very proud of that. And so, let's see here. She was born and raised in a little town in South Africa called Ottendal, Ottendal, Ottendal. Okay, it's in the northwest part of South Africa. And she uses a walker. She's 128 years old. She uses a walker, has a little bit of hearing issues. So I'm assuming she's got some osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the auditory branch of the eighth cranial nerve. And she may have some other issues going with her osteoporosis of the skull. So we're in the process of going there. Now, the newest thing, of course, which we talked about today, and this is one of the things that Pharmacist Keith was visiting and listening to my talk earlier this morning. There's, let's see here, monkeypox is driving doctors crazy now because the COVID-19 is getting quiet again. And so they're saying, well, what are we going to do to pay our kids' tuition now? We don't have COVID-19 anymore. We got the vaccine, we got this, we got that. We're not making any money anymore off of COVID-19. Let's go for the monkeypox. All right. Well, the 21st of May, which is just a day ago or so, there were 92 cases in the world, diagnosed cases, okay, of monkeypox in human beings, 28 suspect cases, no deaths. Monkeypox is like the measles. Okay, you get a skin rash, you get a fever, that's it. Very few people die from it. There's, maybe 1 out of a million people will die from measles, 1 out of a million people will die from monkeypox. Okay. The only thing that interested me was they found somehow a connection between gay men. When they have a relationship with a gay guy, they're at a much higher risk of having this monkeypox than somebody who's not having a gay relationship with another guy. And the gay thing didn't pan out for women, but it did for men. Okay, so I thought that was kind of interesting. So maybe the mechanics of their sexual habits or whatever, I'm going to find out why they're at a higher risk. But there are no diseases reported from monkeypox. So don't let your doctor scare you to death about, oh, you got to get some vaccination. We'll give you measles vaccination. We'll give you smallpox vaccination. We'll give you this. We'll give you that. Well, why? Because monkeypox doesn't kill anybody. Okay, and so with all that said, I think I've covered everything that Pharmacist Keith wanted me to cover. So back to you, Pharmacist Keith.
You did a fantastic job as usual, Dr. Wallach. Yeah, I did want to go a little bit more into the monkeypox because I was looking into it. It was first discovered in 1970, so it's been around a long time. And one of the things I found interesting is in May of 2021, there was an outbreak of monkeypox, and we didn't hear anything about it. The first case in the United States was in May of 2021, and it was a gentleman that had flown from Lagos State, Nigeria on June 25th, and he had symptoms of it as he was flying home. And then, of course, he got home and they discovered that he had this monkeypox. And of course, we didn't hear anything about it in May of 2021. Now, suddenly, May of 2022, there's one case in America and the news media is all over it. So what's the difference between May 2022 and May 2021? Well, in May 2021, we are in the full throes of the
COVID
pandemic.
Yeah.
And, everybody was clickbaiting everything about COVID. You know, all the fake news stories, all the real stories. You never could figure out what was what because clickbait was everywhere on it. You know, headlines would pop up and you go watch those headlines. Monkeypox would have got lost in that mix. Now in 2022, we have this outbreak again, and you know, the World Health Organization is going crazy about it and all that. But just this current outbreak, it says 1 to 5 confirmed cases in Australia. Now, I don't understand how the range is 1 to 5. Either they're confirmed or they're not. Australia, Belgium, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, and Netherlands have 1 to 5 cases. Make up your mind. How many cases are there, folks? Portugal, Spain, and United Kingdom have 21 to 30 cases. Again, make up your mind, folks. And United States has 1 to 5 cases. So total worldwide, 92 cases, and there's they suspect another 28 cases worldwide.
And no deaths.
Right, no deaths at this point. And, you know, I just wanted to look at this because the disease has been around since the 1970s. And it appears that the disease most often happens in 2 areas of Africa, and there actually is 2 different genomes of the virus, so they're slightly different depending on which part of Africa they come from. There's the West Africa clade, and I've lost
Central Africa.
Yeah, the Central African one. And what they have discovered now, this is from December 2021 to May of 2022. That's this year. I just gave you all those numbers of all those cases of it. In Cameroon, there's 25 cases and about 5 deaths. Central African Republic, 6 cases, about 5 deaths. The Democratic Republic of Congo, 1,238 cases, 57 deaths. Nigeria, 46 cases, 0 deaths. These are the areas where this disease originates from. And what the World Health Organization noticed, and you just touched on it, that the cases have mainly been, but not exclusively, but mainly have been identified amongst men who have sex with men. And they find the cases when these guys are going to the sex health clinics because they think they got some kind of STD, and they actually have this disease. You're not going to hear that in the mainstream media because with the wokeness and all the other political issues right now, they're never going to mention that the primary number of people that have the disease are in that sexual orientation. They're also not going to mention in the mainstream media that the vast number of people that died, you know, those numbers I gave you, the vast majority of those folks had AIDS. So they were immunocompromised. So that's why the disease has, killed. And the populations that we have in the Western countries, you know, we've got medicine now to help fight AIDS. And we have all kinds of pharmaceuticals and treatments and so forth to boost the immune system of these patients. So this is not the disease that the media is trying to make it out to be. This is not a disease that's going to spread through the general population and we're going to have massive deaths. I think that's what they're hoping, but that's not the case. In fact, the treatment that the World Health Organization recommends on these cases is the folks that are exposed to the people that have the case. You know, like if you were on an airplane and a guy had the case, the World Health Organization is going to recommend anybody over 40 get a smallpox vaccine because the smallpox vaccine keeps that disease from spreading. But it's not something that's going to need to be done in the general population because with general population, you know, we're not spreading disease that way. And you know, the Western cultures, it's just not. This isn't going to be the disease that the media is trying to make it out to be. You know, they're trying to scare us. It's another clickbait thing. Pop up the headlines there that, oh, we got this major outbreak. The outbreak we're having right now is no different than it's been over the past, 30 years? There's no difference.
Something like
that. Yeah. It's just that there's nothing else to talk about now. There's nothing else to scare us about now. It's another way for the vaccine manufacturers to sell a product where they don't have any liability if you get hurt from their product. there's just so many things playing into this. Again, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but if you've got a product that you have no liability on, of course you're going to want the everybody to partake of that product so you can increase your profits. And I just think this is a much ado about nothing.
Yeah, well, I vote with you. Yeah, the monkeypox is a conversation piece, but that's about it. It again, in much of the free world, I think there's 5 or 7 nations, 92 cases, no deaths.
Right.
And so it's not time to throw billions of dollars at vaccinations and that kind of stuff at this, because if everybody takes their 90 essential nutrients, their immune system will take care of it. It's one of those things where again, you have to appreciate that vaccines do not kill viruses, bacteria, fungus, or yeast of any kind. Vaccines only alert your immune system to the bad DNA and RNA of the bug. So when the bug shows up, your body recognizes that bad DNA and RNA and sends out the white blood cells and the antibodies and red blood cells and platelets and all the stuff that have to do with your immune system, and to go and kill and eat the virus. But it's not the vaccine that does that. It's your body that does it. So, and you've heard this all on the news. It's just about every other day. There's some government official or some entertainer that they have people who are tested positive for the bug, but they're taking the 90 essential nutrients, and so they don't die. But if they test positive for the bug and they're not taking the 90 essential nutrients, they could be very, very sick or die, even though they've been vaccinated. And they say, well, the vaccine failed. Well, the vaccine didn't fail, but the receiver of the vaccine didn't do their part. They have to be taking the 90 essential nutrients so their bone marrow can make all their defenses. That's where your defense system is, your bone marrow. Your bone marrow requires 90 essential nutrients, 16 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 minerals, 3 fatty acids to build the antibodies and white blood cells and so forth to kill and eat the viruses, bacteria and fungus and yeast. Then you got a complete system. Just having a gun doesn't mean anything. You need the bullets to go in the gun. Okay, same way with the vaccine. The vaccine is just like the gun, but you need the bullets in it, okay? And that's where the nutrition comes in, so your own immune system can respond to the bug when it shows up.
Yeah, the reason why the 40 to 50 years old is where they're telling people to get the smallpox vaccine that have been exposed is because that's about the point in your life where the childhood smallpox vaccines have finally wore off. Since we have a world with almost 0 cases of smallpox now, we've not had a necessity to get a booster vaccine. If we still lived in a world where smallpox was a major problem, we'd probably all be getting booster vaccines. And I think this is one way they're looking at trying to do the booster vaccines is by scaring everybody with monkeypox now. Oh my God, you're going to get monkeypox. You better go get your smallpox vaccine booster. And I just think we're way ahead of the case here. And folks, remember, vaccines work because it's not some magic drug that's floating around your system that's killing the invading virus that the vaccine's made for. What vaccines do is give your body a taste of the virus, a taste of the virus that's not going to hurt you, so your body can develop an immune response to it. And then once your body has that immune response, if you get exposed to the invading vector, the virus, whatever it is, your body knows what to do to fight it. And that's why the smallpox vaccine has been so successful, because that worked. What happens when you have failures in vaccines? It's not the vaccine in most cases it's failing. It's your own specific immune system that's failing. So the folks that get a flu shot and turn around and get a flu, it's probably because they don't have the best immune system, because they've not been eating the right foods and supplementing with the right nutrition in order to boost that immune system. So that's why Dr. Wallach is always telling you, you got to have your 90 for life. And that's what I tell you too. And folks, if you want to worry about something, there are so many other things in the world right now that are so much more pressing than monkeypox. I mean, look at the store shelves. Food is going to be a major problem. I'm not a prepper in general. I've spoken at a lot of preppers expos along with Dr. Wallach, but that's not our area that we concern ourselves a lot with. But there's a lot of things pointing that we have a problem right now. I don't know how severe it's going to be, but folks, what you need to be, if you want to prep for anything, you need to be getting these canisters of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, because these are freeze-dried microcrystals. Okay, these have a long shelf life. I know the bottle doesn't have, the bottle says a couple years, but I guarantee you, if you take these and you stick them down in some Mylar bags with some oxygen absorbers to get all the oxygen out of it, it's going to have a long shelf life. And no matter what the food situation is, you'll have your 90 essential nutrients. You might be eating lettuce. Lettuce has virtually no nutritional value. That might be the only thing you can get your hands on because you happen to grow some lettuce in your garden. But if you add this to it, you're going to get your 90 essential nutrients. So no matter what it is that you have out there, no matter what you've prepped for, if you've prepped everything that's all the bad foods for you, all the highly processed box foods, if that's what you prepped with, you better get you some of this and stock up on this because you're going to need that nutrition to keep you healthy, to get you through those bad times. And just like we're seeing with the baby formula shortage, that just shows you we need to be prepared. I mean, folks, there are recipes out there. I know the FDA keeps saying, oh, don't go make your own baby formula. Don't make your own baby formula. But, prior to the baby formula manufacturers, folks made baby formula all the time from dehydrated milk, condensed milk. So there's recipes out there on how to make substitute formulas with condensed milk. But you got to remember, those formulas do not have all the nutrients that are in the modern formulas today. So you need to make sure you get stockpile some of this as well. It's called kids toddy. If you've got a baby right now and you're having issues getting formula, you need to order some of this. Okay. It's 1 teaspoon per 20 pounds of body weight. So half a teaspoon for a 10-pound baby. You want to divide that into their formula twice a day. So if you have to make some formula from some condensed milk, supplement at least 2 bottles a day with half a dose. Again, it's half a teaspoon per every 10 pounds of body weight. So
yeah, and of course, don't forget the EFAs. That's essential too.
Yep.
There's no EFAs in there, so you
Yep.
got to have the EFAs, and so then you'll have a perfect thing. And I, if you think about it, I've been talking about, even if the mother's breastfeeding a baby, she should give him or her, the little baby, 1 meal a day of a formula that either they make or the Infamil and Similac, along with our kids' toddy mixed in with it, just in case something like this happens. I've been talking about that for years, and then suddenly here it happens. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, yeah, our sales of the kids' toddy has doubled, okay, since this crazy thing going on with the kids' baby formula. Okay. But you always want to be prepared for any eventuality. And so even if the mother's breastfeeding the baby, if she's eating gluten, okay, even if she's supplementing, if she's eating gluten, or she works in a bread bakery or a factory that makes spaghetti or something like that, okay, or she works in a quick fast food place and around bread and pancakes and waffles and flour tortillas and things like that, she's not going to be able to absorb those nutrients. And so the baby needs at least 1 meal a day with the kids' toddy in it.
Yeah, and someone mentioned that monkeypox is one of the varieties of shingles. It is not one of the varieties of shingles. It has been genetically identified. There are 2 different monkeypox out there today. So that is misinformation. It is not a form of shingles. It has a lot of the same symptoms as shingles, like smallpox has a lot of the same symptoms as shingles as well. But the monkeypox is more closely related to smallpox than it is shingles. Completely different virus, and it's been around long enough that we know what it is. I mean, it's been around since 1970. We've been able to identify its genes and the differences in the 2. Okay, I posted on both Facebook and on the Zoom side a link to Dr. Schwartz's video on selenium. I highly encourage you to go over and take a look at that video. It's a lot of the preliminary work.
Schwauzer.
Yep. Dr. Schwauzer. It's a lot of the stuff. I mean, he mentions Dr. Wallach in the video, but because Dr. Wallach bringing a sample of plant-derived colloidal minerals to Dr. Schwauzer opened up his eyes to something that he observed when he was a younger man and had thought about, but had never pursued scientifically until Dr. Wallach brought him the plant-derived minerals. He theorized many years before that the plant-derived minerals would be something to be much more readily absorbed and something that we should be looking at. But it's when Dr. Wallach, and this is early in Dr. Wallach's career too, he brought that bottle of the plant-derived minerals to Dr. Schwartz at the
Schwauzer.
I keep saying Schwartz. Dr. Schwauzer. I'm even looking at his name, but he brought that to him at the University of California, wasn't it, Dr. Wallach?
Yes.
And you just handed him a bottle and said, "Can you analyze this?" You didn't tell him what it was or anything.
Yeah, I just told him it was liquid minerals and extracted from a plant deposit, an ancient plant deposit, and that's the only information I gave him. And he about a week later he called me. He was so excited, and that we started a relationship. And we started giving lectures together, and I learned so much from him. And he was the one who actually determined the selenium was an essential trace mineral, whereas medical doctors for years have been saying it was a poisonous mineral. Do not give it to babies. Do not take it yourself. And people would say, well, it's in the health food source. Don't take selenium.
Yeah.
And so people who are dying from, human beings who are dying from sudden death syndrome, okay, you need to point their finger at these doctors who are telling Dr. Gerhard Schwauzer not to be telling people to take selenium because it was poison. And that's where we spent, about 20 years going to, petitioning the FDA and the NIH. 20 years, we spent over $1 million petitioning them to get this selenium put into baby formulas because of the sudden death syndrome, because of muscular dystrophy, because of cystic fibrosis. And they fired me, they fired Jerry Lewis. I mean, it was a big catastrophe all over the place trying to get that mineral in. But once we got it approved as an essential nutrient, that changed everything. And things went fast after that.
Yeah, I just put up a slide on the screen from the Charlotte Observer when this was a year after the baby food, the formula manufacturers started adding selenium to the baby formula. This article came out in the Charlotte Observer. SIDS ruling almost vanished in North Carolina. In the state of North Carolina, SIDS has nearly disappeared. State officials have virtually stopped attributing death to sudden infant death syndrome, a rare condition that strikes otherwise healthy babies in their sleep without explanation. This was September 13th, 2014. That was a year after the manufacturer started putting selenium in the formulas. And can you just imagine if they took this advice in other areas as well, Dr. Wallach, and started making sure all 90 essential nutrients were put in the foods that we eat? I mean, it would put you out of business.
But that's okay.
But I think you would be okay with it in that case, because just think what would happen worldwide. I mean, just putting selenium in the baby formula, a year later, SIDS almost vanished worldwide. I mean, not completely vanished, because there's people out there that are not going to do what they're supposed to do. They're not going to be taking the formula. There's still ladies that are breastfeeding, and they're not getting all the nutrients that they need to get. So it's not 100% gone. Just like muscular dystrophy is not 100% gone, or cystic fibrosis. But just imagine if we made sure every mother and every baby on the planet had all 90 essential nutrients during those formative years, during the birthing years. Just imagine what the world would be like now. All these diseases that strike babies, all these birth defects that strike babies would almost vanish. I mean, I'm not going to say 100% vanish, but it would go a long way to eliminating these problems in the world. And we've proven it in animals.
Yeah, well, let's look at son of a death syndrome. Let's look at SIDS. Okay, here's in 1990, before this all came out to the general public, the rate of son of a death syndrome was per 100,000 people in the United States. Each year, it was per 100,000. It was, let's see here, 125 to 135 cases, fatal cases of son of a death syndrome. Okay. And then after we started putting the nutrients into the baby formulas, okay, we got that done through magic and a lot of time and energy and money to get that ruled upon, okay, in federal courts. It dropped down to, by 2000, let's see here, by 2000, it dropped down to, let's see here, I think it was 15 to 20 per 100,000. That's a jump of 95%, or a drop of 95%, just by putting that one, okay, just by putting that one nutrient in the baby formula. So we're so proud of that. And you know how many, let's see here, we actually got a big, in 2011, got a big thing, a big recognition. Okay, that was exciting. A big recognition for that. And then in 2015, I think it was 15 or 17. Hang on a second, I'll tell you. And look
The
at the
article
date.
came out in 2014.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so 2014, yeah, that was, showed that the son of a death syndrome could be gotten rid of just by putting that one nutrient, selenium, into baby formula. So we're so proud of that. And we got the Klaus Schwartz Award, okay, in 2011. And then we got the Lifetime Achievement Award from National on Natural Medicine and Philanthropy in, let's see here, 2015, August 2015. Okay. Very, very proud of that. Mm-hmm. It was all because of son of a death syndrome.
I mean, selenium was always considered by the medical community as a toxic poison. Yep. Lithium was a toxic poison, yet lithium for decades, probably 100 years, has been used in the treatment of certain psychological disorders.
Yeah,
chromium and vanadium both are toxic metals, but chromium and vanadium are also at the same time essential nutrients in the body's ability to process insulin properly. Insulin, I'm not talking about insulin you inject, I'm talking about your own natural insulin.
Yeah.
And if you don't have these things in your body, it causes disease, causes
like
diabetes.
Yep.
So just think, if we supplemented all the food out there with all these 90 essential nutrients, where would we be today? I want to jump on here to a question. Now, this is from a pet owner, but everything she's asking here applies 100% to humans as well. And, you know, I can remember the early days when I would listen to you. You used to have, I think it was a duck arthritis formula, and you had the Pig Pack Plus and the Pig Pack, which those are still available.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, Dr. Wallach was using the names of things that he treated in his veterinary patients and created formulas for human beings based on those same formulas in veterinary science. And that's why he gave them those strange names. But this is a dog, 15 and a half years old. It doesn't say what, oh, yeah, half standard poodle, half golden retriever, 75 pounds, 100% gluten-free, eats certified gluten-free, freeze-dried raw turkey, complete and balanced dog food. He's on the Arthrodex, MSM, D3, collagen peptides, and he takes high potency probiotics. He does have chronic yeast infections in his ears. His hips are having problems still. He has to be lifted to stand and walk. And he has a fatty benign cyst on the left side over his ribs. I said he's stronger and he's improving on the longevity regimen. And after we lift him, he walks around the house for long periods of time. He just can't get up. They have to help him get up. The cyst on his side seems to be growing larger. It's about like a grapefruit now, so that's a pretty large cyst. Wants to know if there's a way to eliminate it naturally. I think personally, I think you need to have a veterinarian make sure it's not a cancer, and especially if it's growing that big. So go ahead, Dr.
Well, yeah, all right. At any rate, let's go back to this thing with the what he's got this thing going on with the
yeast in his ears, and his hips are weak and he can't stand. But once he stands, since she's been on the program, he is able to walk now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it really needs the let's see here, the collagen peptides. Okay.
Doing that.
Doing the collagen peptides. Okay.
And
vitamin D3
and the D3 and the Arthrodex.
Okay. Excellent. Good. Wouldn't hurt also to throw in. I'd go ahead and throw in the some of the calcium. Okay, some of our calcium capsules. Throw those in.
I mean, the dogs can use the liquid, can't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Maybe there's some kind of absorption problem going on. I know they've already eliminated the
make sure there's gluten, no gluten.
They've eliminated gluten from his diet, but there still may be some other digestion problems going on. So maybe try switching to some of the liquid products, the Beyond OsteoFX, and I forgot what the name of the liquid with the glucosamine is. It's
liquid glucosamine.
From the Nature's. I forgot the name of it, Doc.
Okay, well, it'll come to us. Okay, I got 6,000 products. I apologize.
I'm looking it up.
Okay, but at any rate, yeah, I'd go there and make sure the vitamin D3 is there, the glucosamine, and of course the let's see here,
FlexiCare.
FlexiCare. Okay, yeah, FlexiCare, Fucoid Z, all those herbs and seaweed and stuff like that, because some of that should give them some pain relief.
I mean, and get a veterinarian to do a biopsy of that just to make sure we're not dealing with a cancer there.
Yeah, that fatty tumor. Yeah. Okay.
And Russell says he's been on your 90 program for 4 years now and has not been sick once since then. I can tell you too, I've been following Dr. Wallach's program since 2011, and I've only been sick a couple times. The last time I got a severe respiratory issue, and believe it or not, the doctor said it was because of wearing the masks. He says he's seeing a lot of healthcare professionals, especially, that are wearing these masks all day long, that the fibers from the mask are getting down in the lungs and causing lung infections. So that's something that they're expecting to see long-term from that. But really, that's that time, and I think maybe one other time is all I've ever been sick in the last 11 years. I've not missed a single day of work in those 11 years. So, I think Dr. Wallach on that. That's 90 for life. And that's part of why me as a pharmacist, I'm so adamant about these programs.
Yeah, well, thank you for your own experience and sharing. Of course, you are let's see here, a certified health coach also with us on top of your degrees in pharmacy. And
thanks, Tedder's Glucogel Plus was the other one. Cherie, you have a question? We don't have a lot of time, but I'll let you jump in there. Unmute yourself and turn your camera on if you can.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi. I have to have surgery on my foot to take a plate out on Thursday. Is there anything that you would recommend that I take to prepare me for the surgery and then after the surgery?
Okay. Well, yeah, I would take lots of our oxygen products, our OxyBody. Take an ounce of that twice a day. Okay, just hyperoxygenate your body. Secondly, how much do you weigh?
200.
Okay, how tall are you?
5'5".
Okay, you should weigh about 130, 140, so you're 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight. I wouldn't go under general anesthesia just yet with that. You want to get with our weight loss program, okay? And that is, of course, we have the, let's see here, we have the tablets you take during the day, okay, the powder you take during the day. And so for weight loss, and you can lose a half a pound to 2 pounds a day. And so within, say, 30 to 60 days, you can actually lose the weight. Okay. And that'll be much safer for you to undergo anesthesia. Are they just going to give you spinal anesthesia, or are they going to give you general anesthesia?
It's planned to be general anesthesia. It's just going to take a small plate out of my my ankle.
I know. But when you undergo general anesthesia, you want to make sure that, you know, you're oxygenated and so forth. So we do have a liquid oxy body. You can drink some of that during the day. It tastes good, and it's a good oxygen source. And
killer biotic and Z radical as prophylactics for infection.
there you go.
Okay.
Killer biotics and colloidal silver. Yep. And don't forget the 90 at
I
200
found
pounds.
the 90.
Okay. Okay. Good. Very good. And so, yeah, I would be a little hesitant. I want to get down to about 160 pounds before you start thinking about letting anesthetize for surgery on your foot or ankle.
Okay. With the keto shake, because I have that, should I take it with milk or water or juice?
I would go ahead and take it with water.
Okay.
Because you don't want the extra sugar.
Okay.
Milk isn't bad, but you don't want the calories and that kind of stuff, and because you want to be losing that weight.
Now,
Right.
if you're doing a keto diet along with the shake, then you'll want to mix it with heavy whipping cream. But if you're not doing the keto diet, then you want to put water.
Okay. Thank you guys
There.
so much.
Okay, well, keep us informed, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right, folks, we got about 5 more minutes. Let me see if there's any questions coming on the other side here. Okay, I don't see any questions over there. Go ahead.
Hello, this is Bill. I just want to ask you for a woman with incontinence and 77 years old, and she's on the Dr. Wallach protocol, but she has problem have leakage when she runs to the bathroom
Mm-hmm.
with urination.
Okay. Does she get up at night to urinate? Or?
Yes, and also sometimes during the day she'll be sitting, and then all of a sudden she has to run to the bathroom. And sometimes she doesn't make it in time.
Yeah. Okay.
What type of protocol are you on?
Well, we're taking the 90 for life. We've been taking since 2012 when I first met Dr. Wallach, right here in Maryland.
Okay.
And we religiously take it, but and Dr. Wallach did tell her to lose some. She had to lose some weight. He told her that about years ago.
Okay. Now, are you guys still eating gluten? Are you still eating wheat, barley, rye, and oats, or are you gluten free?
Well, not totally, but I know we need to. I know we need to.
Okay. Well, this may be her problem, because if she is eating, wheat, barley, rye, and oats, even 1 day a week, that's enough to keep her intestines to where it's not going to efficiently absorb the nutrition. And does she have white, gray, or silver hair?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Does she have any ringing in the ears or balance problems?
Sometimes.
Yes. Okay. And then you say, how many times a night does she get up to urinate?
Sometimes 4. Sometimes 4.
Okay. Yeah. She got osteoporosis of the skull. That's her problem. She got osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the spinal cord. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so this is what's happening. So she's not able to control her urination because the spinal cord is being squeezed by the skull and also by her vertebrae. And so she needs to get off all the gluten. I mean, drop dead, get off of it. And how much does she weigh?
195.
How
5
tall
feet
is she?
5. 5 feet 5.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So she needs to lose about 30 pounds, but she'll start losing some weight as soon as she gets off all the gluten. No wheat, butter, rye, and oats. No wheat, butter, rye, and oats. No wheat, butter, rye, and oats. Okay. She can never go back to that. And then she needs 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. Vitamin D3, 3 of those twice a day. She needs the MSM, 3 of those at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That'll be 2 bottles a month. That's to help rebuild her skull, vertebrae, connective tissue, disc, all that kind of stuff. She also needs the collagen peptides, so she can take a scoop of that with her morning drink and a scoop of that with her evening drink. And that's going to solve her problems. But this is forever. This is, she's got to get rid of all this gluten out of her life so she can absorb these nutrients.
Do me a favor, Bill.
Okay.
Go over to the Campaign for Nutrition website and scroll all the way to the bottom and have her take that health evaluation.
Oh, all right.
Okay, answer every question, even if it sounds ridiculous. Answer every single question on that evaluation. And Bill, on that evaluation, it will say who referred her. Put your name there so I know where it's coming from.
Okay.
And then next week, we'll talk a little bit more about it after I have a chance to look at it and get with Dr. Wallach, and we can talk a little bit more about it on the call next week.
All right.
I'd like to get an idea of everything that's going on with her,
Yes.
and so we can give proper advice.
Good suggestion. Yep. Yeah, because there's a lot going on there. That's for sure.
All right, Dr. Wallach. So let's.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You're very welcome,
Thank
sir.
you, Bill.
God bless.
All right, Dr. Wallach, it's coming to that time of day. So let me get my slides up here real quick. But if you don't mind telling us when you will be on the radio.
Okay, well, today, Monday through Friday, I'm going to be on the radio Pacific time, noon to 1. That's Dead Doctors Don't Lie. And the telephone number is toll free 1-888-379-2552. And then from 1 to 2 Pacific time, it's Let's Play Doctor. I'll be on that Monday through Friday. Again, 1 to 2, 1-877-912-7529. They're all toll free. And we have about 35, 40 minutes for Q&A. So there's lots of time. I can go through about 4, 5, 6 people. And so do call in, even if you're just calling to listen because you want to build your longevity business. Okay, do join us. Thank you so much, Pharmacist Keith.
We appreciate that. And again, folks, that's weekdays, 3 to 4 Eastern time. Dead Doctors Don't Lie, 888-379-2552. You can get the archive of the radio program at radio.givedoc90days.com. That's radio.givedoc90days.com. Also, Let's Play Doctor is on 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time, 877-912-7529. That's 877-912-7529. And I just want to remind people as well that you can get your DVDs, CDs, books, everything else from Dr. Wallach by going to drjwallach.com. DR as in doctor, drjwallach.com. You can get all the books, CDs, DVDs. There's a lot more available through his store than you can find online. And I do encourage you to buy direct from Dr. Wallach, as Dr. Wallach income solely comes from the production of his books, CDs, and DVDs. You can find some of this information on Amazon, but why share those the profits with Amazon? I think they make enough profit as there is. So let's go to Dr. Wallach's website and buy directly from him so you can give all the profits directly to Dr. Wallach to support his cause here. Again, that's drjwallach.com, drjwallach.com. Dr. Wallach, I do thank you for jumping on here. We'll see you again next week, same time, same channel. And,
absolutely. And thank you so much for
talk to you. I'm sure I'll talk to you again. Yeah, between then. And folks, thanks for watching. We have a free gift for you. If you go to dddlvideo.com, that stands for Dead Doctors Don't Lie. dddlvideo.com. abellvideo.com. You can get the report that Dr. Wallach wrote many years ago called Why So Many Young Athletes Die. And you can also get a link to his video in the Dead Doctors Don't Last series called Someone Should Go to Jail, Health, Lies, and Medicine. So you're able to watch that there. You can share this website with your friends, family, your associates. That we do not collect any information on that particular website. The information is there for everybody to use directly themselves. Again, that's free to use. I do ask that any of the programs, anything that you see that I have produced, all that information is copyright. So you're free to send people to watch my videos and go to the website and the Facebook page and watch the videos. You're free to share those videos with anybody you like. I just ask that you do not download those videos, edit those videos, or alter them in any way. Those are copyrighted, and I will go after folks that violate my copyright. I've had to do it once already, and I will not hesitate to do it again. So again, thank you very much. It cost me a lot of time, a lot of investment and equipment to put this program on, and I just ask you to respect that. So again, I thank you very much for visiting us. Again, we're on here every week at the same time, same channel, and again, encourage you to come back next week. Hello. And first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time and share the information, ask your questions, etc. Hang on just a second. I'm going to start a video now, and I will talk to you again next week. This is why I joined 90 for Life, and I just want to share that with you right now. Hello. First of all, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I know your time is valuable, and there's a lot of other things you could be doing right now, so I'll keep this as short as I can. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Keith Abell. I'm a licensed pharmacist, and I've been an active pharmacist since 1995. I've worked in many practice settings over the years, but there's one area that I'm particularly passionate about, and that's what I want to share with you in this presentation. As a pharmacist, I'm very passionate about health and wellness. My goal is to help folks improve their overall health and well-being, and I probably take a little bit different approach to health and wellness than many of my peers do. Although the body has very complex biological processes involved in the disease process, I believe that our bodies were divinely designed to repair themselves, and given the proper tools, what I call 90 for life, in the proper environment, it can be accomplished. Yes, pharmaceuticals play an important role in human health. However, it's my belief that they should play a temporary role in the relief of symptoms, and our ultimate goal should be to find ways to allow the body's natural, God-given biological processes to take over. That is, to support and promote the body's ability to repair itself. Since I began my studies in pharmacy at the University of Kentucky, I've always been interested in the role nutrition and supplementation can play in disease prevention and improvement. Back in 1994, prior to graduation as a pharmacist, I started one of the first information and e-commerce websites on the internet. I provided free, helpful information on the use of herbs, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and other nutrients for the treatment and management of diseases. I also offered quality products that weren't available locally to meet those needs. Upon graduation, most of my professional continuing education has focused on what Linus Pauling calls orthomolecular nutrition. That's the study of nutrition at the molecular level and how it can be used to alleviate symptoms of disease and improve the quality of life. Now, sometimes around 2004 or 2005, something happened in my practice that's had a profound change on the direction of my career. I had a patient come into my store and ask me a question regarding a nutraceutical that I didn't have the answer to. You see, I had a client come in to me and say that they had heard that fish oil lowered cholesterol, and he wanted to know how much he should take. Well, that information wasn't available anywhere in any of my reference books, so I had to tell him that I'd get back with him after I do some research. I did a search of the available medical and scientific literature that was available at the time, and I found an article after article after article on all the great things that omega-3 fish oil did. You know, reduced blood pressure, improved cholesterol control, it improved control of diabetes, reduced inflammation and arthritis, it raised the good cholesterol, lowered the bad cholesterol. Study after study showing some positive impacts from omega-3s. Then I came across an article from one of the leading medical journals that said fish oil did nothing. Well, back in pharmacy school, I had a professor that said that when you do a scientific search in the literature and you come across many articles that had one result and then one article that had the opposite result, that we needed to ask three questions. who funded the research, what did they stand to gain or lose from the results, and what did they do differently to get the results that they got. So I took a closer look at that single article that said fish oil did nothing, and I found that it was funded by one of the statin drug manufacturers. So that made it easy to determine what they would stand to gain or lose. If the results showed that it helped control cholesterol, then they would stand to lose billions of dollars in drug sales. So the next question was to look at what it was that they did different to get the results that they got. So then I looked at all the other studies that showed positive results, and in every single case, in all those other studies, they gave the participants anywhere from 6 grams to even 9 grams of omega-3 fatty acids per day. Then I looked at the statin company study. They only gave the study participants 1 gram of omega-3 per day. They knew it would fail before the research even started. This opened my eyes. Since that day, every time another study came out that said some nutraceutical did nothing, I would do a search of the literature, and in every single case, the negative study was funded by some big pharmaceutical company, and in every single case, they gave the patient a dose that was far below what the other research showed was effective. That's what we call subtherapeutic dose. Or they gave a dosage form that wasn't absorbed properly, or they gave a chemical version of the nutraceutical that wasn't the form that the body could utilize. You see, big pharma can't patent something that occurs in nature already, so they couldn't profit from positive outcomes. Eventually, big pharma couldn't ignore the evidence on omega-3 fish oils, so they came up with a synthetic form of it to take along with their statin drugs to gain better control of cholesterol and triglycerides. The thing is, even in the synthetic form, they say that it doesn't work alone. It had to be taken with their drug. It doesn't work because, once again, they still only tested it at 4 grams per day. Just to illustrate this one more time, I came across a recent article that said St. John's wort. St. John's wort's a medical herb that's been used for centuries for the treatment of depression. In fact, in Europe, it's the first-line treatment before they ever prescribe Prozac or any of the other prescription medications. Anyway, the article said that St. John's wort didn't work. So I pulled the article, and in the study, they gave the St. John's wort for 7 days and declared that it failed to work. Now, why is this significant? St. John's wort, just like the prescription drugs Prozac, takes time to accumulate in the body in order to become effective. According to the Natural Medicine's Comprehensive Database, St. John's wort needs to be given for 6 to 8 weeks to produce the desired outcome. Once again, Big Pharma produced a study with misleading information, then they published it in a national journal, knowing good and well that very few health professionals would ever pull the article out and look at what they did to get their results. By the way, that client that mentioned earlier that asked me how much fish oil to take, I had him purchase some high-quality omega-3 fatty acids and instructed him to take 3 capsules twice a day. That's 6,000 milligrams a day. Within the first month when he came in to buy another bottle, he told me that his joint aches had gone away. Some months later, he told me that his doctor had taken him off his statin medications. His cholesterol and triglyceride levels were in control, and his doctor even reduced the dose of diabetic medications that he'd been taking because he had gained better control of his blood sugar. This incident really opened my eyes, and over the next decade, I've immersed myself in learning everything I can about nutrition and supplementation and the role that it plays in our overall health and well-being. In 2007, I came across the research of a doctor that was a veterinarian, a pathologist, a biomedical researcher, and a physician, Dr. Wallach. That he'd been using veterinary nutritional concepts, that is, using nutritional supplements to prevent and reverse diseases in animals. He had been using these concepts on his human patients and had seen amazing results. I started using those concepts with my clients, using the formulations that were available to me in my store, and slowly but surely I began seeing the same results in my clients that he had seen. That's when I decided to try his product line for myself and for my family. My mother-in-law had, at that time, just had her second bypass surgery. Blood thinners and all the medications that she was taking were causing her to have a really poor quality of life. She always felt run down with no energy and was embarrassed about all the bruising that the blood thinners was causing on her arms. I tracked Dr. Wallach down and I spoke with him on the phone. I put my mother-in-law on Dr. Wallach's 90 for Life program for heart and circulation health. And with the help of her general practitioner, I weaned her off the blood thinners first. Then one by one, all the other medications. Now, a decade later, she still does not take any prescription medications for her heart or her circulation. She goes to her cardiologist once each year, has the ultrasounds done of her arteries, and every year since she started taking Dr. Wallach's products, her cardiologist tells her that she has no further blockage. He writes her yearly prescriptions for what he thinks she's still taking and tells her there's no need to change any of her medications to keep doing what she's been doing. She comes home, throws the prescriptions in the garbage, and continues, as her cardiologist told her, to keep doing what she's been doing. She continues to follow Dr. Wallach's recommendations and continues to take his products. She hasn't told the cardiologist about Dr. Wallach because she wants him to continue to monitor things on a yearly basis, and she's afraid that if she really let him know what she was doing, he wouldn't let her come back to his practice. Well, in 2013, I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Wallach in person and to work side by side with him throughout that year. About once a month, I'd travel with him all over the country as he did his health lectures, and eventually doing some of the lectures myself. I'd meet the folks that he had helped, that had been helped with his 90 for Life program, and were so grateful for what Dr. Wallach had done for them. With Dr. Wallach's guidance, I began working with folks that I met along the way, educating them on the necessity of supplementing with the body with all the 90 essential nutrients that the body needs to support and promote its natural process of repair. I started those folks on Dr. Wallach's nutritional products based on their individual needs. And in most cases, within 90 days or less, I began seeing those folks have similar results to the results that my mother-in-law had. And that is precisely why I'm sharing this information with you. I want to help as many folks as possible to improve their health, and where possible, get off the dangerous pharmaceuticals that they're currently taking. I mentioned that Dr. Wallach's a veterinarian and then became a physician, but I haven't told you the entire story. He graduated from the University of Missouri with a degree in soil science and Doctor of Veterinary Science. From there, he began working with Marlon Perkins of the Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom on saving endangered species of animals, both in Africa and then back here in the United States at various zoos. From there, he worked on a decade-long project with the National Institutes of Health as a pathologist, where he completed thousands of comparative autopsies and hundreds of thousands of blood chemistries from hundreds of species of animals and human beings. From that research, his findings have been published more than 70 times in scientific and medical journals. He compiled all that research together and co-authored a book, The Diseases of Exotic Animals, that's currently in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. He then returned to school to become a naturopathic doctor, so he can then apply his veterinary concepts in his human patients. He's been recognized with various prestigious awards, including one most recently at the United Nations for his life's work. And I'm so blessed to count him as a friend and colleague. Veterinary research has cured over 900 diseases in animals that we still suffer from. The veterinary industry and Dr. Wallach's research has shown that diseases like arthritis and diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, and many, many more are diseases of nutritional deficiencies. If they were traced back, in most cases we can find a deficiency in some mineral, vitamin, amino acid, or other nutritional compound. Likewise, the veterinary industry has learned that if they supplement the animal feed with all the nutrition the animal needs, they can actually increase a healthy life expectancy of the animals. In the human model of medicine, when something goes wrong, the first inclination is to prescribe a medication. Medications, with the exception of the anti-infective category, don't heal anything. They just treat symptoms. I want you to think about this. You're driving down the interstate in your car and the check engine light comes on. Do you ignore it? Or do you check to see what's wrong and get it fixed? If you cut the wire going to that light and ignore the light, what would eventually happen? The car's going to break down, possibly, depending on what's wrong, possibly a catastrophic failure. Well, that's exactly what happens when you get a prescription. You're cutting the wire to the red warning light, the symptom of the disease that you're experiencing in the body. The body is trying to tell you something. It's trying to tell you that something's wrong. When you give a prescription, the drug, the medication, is designed to affect some biological process in the body in order to get the response that the doctor wants. In effect, ignoring the red warning light and not fixing what's really wrong. Dr. Wallach, from those thousands of autopsies in his veterinary research, discovered that nutritional deficiencies are at the root cause to all the ailments that we still suffer from. He discovered that if you give the body all 90 essential nutrients, then you're supplying the body with the raw materials that it needs to support and promote the body's natural ability to repair itself. And it's precisely this that has me so excited. Why is it that the United States spends more money on health care than everyone else in the world combined? spending more money on health care than anyone else in the world has not paid off. The United States is 60th in life expectancy. That means 59 other countries have a longer life expectancy than we do. We're 41st in infant mortality, and only 1 in 10,000 Americans live to be 100. How can this be? It's because we're trying to win the battle of good health with medications instead of optimal nutrition. We're cutting the red warning light and ignoring what's at the root cause of the disease. Based on Dr. Wallach's decades of research, he's found that your body needs at least 90 essential nutrients to function at its best. These nutrients include 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 2 essential fatty acids. The foundation of nutritional health is what he calls 90 for life. Unfortunately, all these nutrients are no longer found in our food because of decades of farming practices that have left our soils depleted of these nutrients, combined with the heavy processing in the food manufacturing process, the addition of dangerous synthetic chemicals and flavorings and preservatives on our food doesn't contain the nutrients that it once did. So your first step to optimizing health is to provide your body with all 90 essential nutrients, the core nutrition needed. While the 90 essential nutrients are necessary to provide a powerful base for sustained health, ultimate wellness is further supported and customized with additional nutrients depending on your personal needs. For example, if you're suffering from joint pain, there's a 90 for Life program specifically formulated for bone and joint health. There's formulations to support healthy blood sugar, cardiovascular support. If you're active in sports or if you got a job that causes you to sweat all the time, then he designed an athletic support program for you. And then there's many more. From personal and professional experience, I know that by following Dr. Wallach's recommendations, I can help folks get better control of their blood sugar, to improve their bone and joint health, to gain control of their blood pressure, and many, many more improvements in their health and overall well-being. Again, that's precisely why I'm sharing this information with you. I want to help as many folks as I possibly can to improve their health, and where possible to help them even reduce or even eliminate the need for the dangerous pharmaceuticals that they've been taking. We're looking for a few key people to work with me to help get this information out there. I'm looking for some folks that have leadership qualities, that can follow and teach a simple system, folks that want to create an additional income that continues to come in month after month, and possibly even replace their current income. And if you're interested in learning more about getting healthy or the income opportunity, then just complete the information on this website and I'll get back with you as soon as possible. I hate spam as much as you guys do, so I will not rent or sell the information to anyone else. It's just used by me to help get that information out to you. Thanks again for watching this video.
Thanks for tuning in to the Health and Wellness Hour with Dr. Joe Wallach and Pharmacist Keith Abell. If you found value in this episode, be sure to like and share. Also, to be notified when the next episode is posted, click on the subscribe button, then hit that little bell symbol. If you have any questions or comments for Pharmacist Keith or Dr. Wallach, you may send a private email to askpharmacistkeith@live.com or by visiting the Facebook page, Give Doc 90 Days to Better Health, Wellness, and Longevity. To hear more from Dr. Wallach, he has 2 nationally syndicated radio programs daily, Dead Doctors Don't Lie and Let's Play Doctor. Check your local radio listings for details. Also, check out the archives of his past shows at radio.givedoc90days.com. One last thing, if you'd like to join Dr. Wallach's crusade to share his message with others, contact Pharmacist Keith, and he'll teach you how to share the message and create some extra income at the same time. Contact Pharmacist Keith through his email address, keith@prosperityrx.com, or call or text at 502-212-2929. Remember, Keith is still a practicing pharmacist and can't always pick up the phone right away, so leave your name, number, and best time to call, and he'll return your call as soon as possible. Thanks again for tuning in.